Guess what's happening now? The New York Times and 4 European major news agencies are saying that they're urging the governments to stop prosecuting Julian Assange. Yeah. Now, remember, what they're prosecuting Julian Assange for has nothing to do with Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Russia or the election of 2016. They're prosecuting him because he exposed war crimes of the United States government. That's why. And in an open letter, the Times, the Guardian, Le Monde, Der Spiegel, and Pais, is that how you say it, said the prosecution of Mr. Assange under the Espionage Act sets a dangerous precedent that threatened to undermine the First Amendment and the freedom of the press. Obtaining and disclosing sensitive information when necessary in the public interest is a core part of the daily work of journalists. If that work is criminalized, our public discourse and our democracies are made significantly weaker, said the letter. Mr. Assange, who's been fighting extradition from Britain since his arrest here in 2019, is also accused of participating in a hacking-related conspiracy. Really? The letter notably did not urge the Justice Department to drop that aspect of the case, though it said that some of us are concerned about it too. Okay. It took him 3 years to compose this letter. Who wrote this? Cenk Uygur? 3 years. Each of the 5 organizations had worked with Mr. Assange in 2010 and 2011 during the events at the heart of the criminal case. Wikileaks, which obtained leaked archives of classified American diplomatic cables and military files, gave early access. So all these other news outlets reported the same shit that Julian Assange was revealing. He was giving it out to newspapers. He was working with the New York Times. This wasn't considered controversial. This was considered what journalists do. The case against, listen to this, this is great. The case against Mr. Assange is complicated, says the New York Times, and does not turn on the question of whether he is considered a journalist, but rather on whether his journalistic style, activities of soliciting and publishing classified information can or should be treated as a crime. Are you shitting me? So now they're gonna, so now, you know how everybody says he's not a journalist? They're pretending, oh no, he is, for sure. But it's his journalist style. What? This is the New York Times. This is why we have a show. Because the New York Times is a piece of shit fucking propaganda rag run by billionaires in bed with the military-industrial complex and the government. And here's how you know that. Read this fucking article. The letter comes as Attorney General Merrick Garland has sought to rein in ways in which the Justice Department has made it harder for journalists to do their jobs. In October, he issued new regulations that ban the use of subpoenas, warrants, or court orders to seize reporters' communications records or demand their notes or testimony in an effort to uncover confidential sources in leak investigations. So this is the New York Times trying to pretend that Trump did all this anti-journalism shit, but the Biden administration are up pro-journalism. Except Joe Biden was the vice president to Barack Obama, who prosecuted more journalists and using than all the presidents combined.
Yeah,
so this is called propaganda. That's why we have a show, and that's why the New York Times is propaganda, because that's what this is. Mr. Assange and WikiLeaks catapulted to global fame in 2010 when he began publishing classified videos. Yeah. Chelsea Manning, a former Army intelligence analyst, had provided the archives to WikiLeaks. So what they're trying to say was that Julian Assange hacked, that would be illegal. Julian Assange stole these, that would be illegal. Or Julian Assange encouraged Chelsea Manning to commit this illegal act, that would also be illegal. They tortured Chelsea Manning, trying to get Chelsea Manning to say that about Julian Assange, and he wouldn't, or she wouldn't. Ms. Manning's disclosures amounted to one of the most extraordinary leaks in American history. They included about 250,000 State Department cables that revealed many secret things about the world, dossiers about Guantanamo Bay, logs of significant events in the Afghanistan and Iraq wars that divulged, among other things, that civilian casualties were higher than the official estimates. The open letter notes that the Obama administration had weighed charging Mr. Assange in connection with the Manning leaks, but it did not do so. Why? Because if they were going to prosecute Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, they would have to also prosecute the New York Times for releasing the exact same information. That is still the case. But in March 2018, under Trump administration, the Justice Department obtained a sealed grand jury indictment against Mr. Assange. Initially, the charges sidestepped issues of press freedom, narrowly accusing him of hacking-related offense by offering to help Ms. Manning mask her tracks on a secure computer network. Under Attorney General William P. Barr, the department later escalated this case by obtaining an additional indictment that included a second set of allegations that his journalistic style activities violated the Espionage Act, a World War I era law that makes the unauthorized retention and dissemination of national security secrets a crime. Journalistic style activities. That's like officer-involved shooting. That's a... There is no precedent in the United States for prosecuting a publisher of information. It's never been done. The Trump administration's decision to bring such charges against Mr. Assange raised novel and profound questions about the meaning of the First Amendment. For now, those issues have not been tested in court because the case is paused while Mr. Assange fights extradition. But the open letter called on the Justice Department to drop the Espionage Act charges, holding governments accountable as part of the core mission of a... So... What Julian Assange is doing is at the core of what journalism is. The core of what journalism is. And just to remind you, the key witness against Assange, he recanted his whole story. A key witness in the Department of Justice case against Julian Assange has admitted that his entire testimony is false, a revelation that could be the death knell for the U.S. attempts to prosecute him. This guy, often known as the Siggy the Hacker, made the confession to Icelandic outlet Stundin last weekend. The article details how this guy, a convicted felon, pedophile, and diagnosed socio-frickin' used his position to steal money from WikiLeaks and received immunity from prosecution from the FBI in a quid pro quo. So this guy, this pedophile, convicted felon, sociopath, this is the guy they're using to impugn Julian Assange's character. Mm-hmm. Also this, Manafort held secret talks with Assange in Ecuadorian embassy, sources say. That was complete bullshit and made up. The Young Turks reported this as if it was true. That video's still up on the Young Turks website. This lie about Julian Assange. Boy, The Guardian, stellar ongoing coverage of the important developments in the Assange case, even when they had to make up the developments in the Assange case. Let me bring in Craig Pasta. Craig.
Yeah, it was interesting too when that particular witness they had, when he recanted his whole story, Julian Assange's father happened to be in the States doing that home run for Julian tour, and he made this comment that, yeah, why hasn't Julian been let go? Because the witness has now turned turtle, is what his father said. It was really, really cute. But a lot of us were saying, why haven't they recanted? Their star witness is gone, is now they don't have him. But I think it's really important to understand what's going on too as well. A little bit late than never. A lot of people are saying that now they've made this open letter after how many years of kind of like, benefiting off the torture of Julian Assange and staying silent on all this stuff. But the important thing is, and I think they're speaking up now, Jimmy, it's because we see the laws that Merrick Garland is putting into place. Now they can come, just seize your stuff, take your information, and all that information, all that fascism, it's going to come to light. Julian always said they're not going after him; they were going after us. They're just using him to get to us, and that's where we're at right now. And it is definitely very scary to see that they've implemented all these laws. And it's not just Donald Trump. Now here comes Joe Biden and his administrator, Merrick Garland, following up where Donald left off. And before that, Hillary Clinton had said, "Can't we just drone this guy?"
She wanted to kill him.
She wanted to kill him. But I'm just thankful today. I guess there are people speaking up, like Lula. That was kind of awesome that he did it. And enough is enough now at this point. When you talk to a lot of Republicans, one of the things they say that they didn't like what Donald Trump did was his salesmanship of the vax. But also a lot of them will say Julian Assange, because they'll connect the dots. You can't be just freedom of speech and freedom of press when you like it. You have to be consistent on that.
Yeah, tell that to Sam Harris. Am I right? Come on.
Well, Biden can have skeletons in his closet, but Trump University, Jimmy.
Trump University. He acts like that was Auschwitz or something. He acts like that's Guantanamo Bay. That's the irony. That's something we're actually doing right now, which is way, 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 way worse than Trump University. That's the irony. Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, December 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. And we're going to be in Tempe, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets. See you there.